Good morning, everyone. It is 10:30, so we will go ahead and get started. We have a lean team today, but we have a lot of information to share. And before we do that, just a quick reminder, please make sure that you send any questions or comments to all panelists. Don't send it to the host, don't send it to the presenter, send to all panelists. That way we can make sure that everyone that needs to see that question or comment can respond to it. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Angie Brenner to kick us off with the budget information.
All right, thank you so much, Heike. Good morning, and yes, happy Friday to everyone. We're excited to have you here. I know, like Heike said, we have a small team, but hopefully we'll be small but mighty. I have lots of budget information to share with you. I'm going to go through it fairly quickly here, but you're going to continue to see information roll out from our division about budget items for fiscal year 23. We're still trying to comb through everything. We're trying to figure out how to implement things. So we'll be working with you on that. But we are excited that session is wrapped up. Our budget has passed, and we are really excited about the funding and the opportunities that we have this year. I first want to start off by saying that the division received $755.9 million. I said thousands earlier this week. It is millions in funding, and that funding is to increase provider rates, implement value-based payment models, enhance our HCBS system, including some IT enhancements. So again, we are really excited about that. That is $250 million in the DD budgets. So great opportunities for the people that we serve and for all the providers that work so hard to serve everyone in our population. So I'll run through those, kind of breaking out some of those items, but we do have provider rates will be increased to account for a rate methodology change from negotiated rates to fee schedule rates. And that also includes consideration for $15 an hour DSP wages. That waiver amendment is currently out for public comment. You know, when we do the funding, we also have to submit waiver amendments anytime a rate methodology changes. So you should have seen that in the comment period. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but that is out for public comment right now. That is $375 million for all of our services, plus $170.9 million that was in our in fiscal year 22 residential and personal assistant rate increases. So it's taking what we have today and then adding an additional $375 million to that. We also received utilization funding to increase residential waiver slots by 402 and our in-home waiver slots by 1,313. We're also really excited. This is the first year that we've received additional funding for cost to continue for the current individuals we serve. This additional funding will really help as the individuals that we serve, as their costs continue to increase, their needs continue to increase. That'll help fill that gap that the division has been trying to fill for many, many years now. So excited again to be able to do that for the first time. There's also funding for value-based payment incentives, incentive payments. Those will be rolled out in fiscal year 23, and we have been meeting with the VBP ad hoc committee. We've shared some of this with MAC and MARF, and so we'll continue to roll that out to everyone as well. But this is $16.6 million in value-based incentive payments, and an additional $19.8 million in VBP IT infrastructure and administrative costs. So really what it takes for us to put this together on the IT side, as well as just some administrative contracting to help us roll out the VBP models. So the VBP payments, these really focus on strengthening the HCBS workforce and the systems of supporting the workforce and the systems of support. And we're really looking at increasing the quality of care and having fewer risk outcomes. for the individuals that we serve. So again, that was 16.6 million in the payments and 19.8 million in the IT infrastructure and administrative costs. We also have funding, 14.7 million, to implement programs to enhance our home and community-based services provided, to the waiver participants. This will include things like the home modification. Right now, you have to go through an exception process to get up to $10,000 per year. This will be removing that exception process. It's also looking at contracting for a provider review contract where we can look at our system, at the quality of services, the quality programs, to see where do we have any gaps and can we build that up at all, and then also just helping us to do provider reviews and scorecards, and then some additional training that we want to offer to providers and staff. So we'll be rolling that out. Funding also includes $7.6 million for case management privatization. This would shift 2,200 individuals to of the regional office support coordination to private providers. And what this does is really more closely align caseloads between support coordinators. In our St. Louis area, some of our bigger areas, sometimes we have caseloads of 1 to 80, and really a better number is more around the 35 to 40 range. So we're shooting for a 1 to 36. Heike, I'm going to ask, my screen looks different. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Angie.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We have additional funding for autism centers. This will be an additional $5.8 million to double their current capacity for diagnostic evaluation and services at the 6 clinics that we have. Then there is also funding to bring up 2 additional autism centers, and that's in the Southwest and Joplin area, and that is $5 million each. There's additional autism funding that is that's worked its way through Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development. So they received funding in their budget for 2 additional sites, and those are partnering with universities. So Missouri State University in West Plains, and then also with the University of Missouri. And we're continuing to learn about those sites. So we'll be working with higher ed to kind of see where that's going. And I do see the comment about, is there a PowerPoint? We don't have a PowerPoint for this one right now, but we'll be sharing more information. So it's still Happy Friday. Okay, and then finally, DD Council received $17,000 in federal authority for their COVID-19 vaccination grant. And then we received $3.4 million in federal authority for provider relief funds that we applied for through the HRSA, and we received that funding for Northwest Community Services and Southwest Community Services. And then, okay, let me see. I'm going to stop for just a moment to see if there's questions I can answer about the budget. Okay, so is the 2,200 for TCM expansion only in the St. Louis area? No, it is not only in the St. Louis area. You're going to see a TCM RFI come out here in the next few weeks, and it will give kind of the breakout of where the TCM support coordination areas are with the regional offices. So you're going to see kind of there's varying needs depending on where it's at in the state, and it's based off of the current caseload growth the current caseload that the regional offices have. So again, you'll see that in that RFI that'll come out, and it is higher in the St. Louis area, but again, we're doing it statewide, and you'll see kind of that shift of what the regional office staff are doing and what their caseload is, and how much we want to be able to move over to privatizing. I think that's all the questions so far. Okay, so that's kind of a very high level of the budget. The other thing that we wanted to make sure to bring your attention to is that we sent out an email blast a couple of weeks ago with our rate study regarding our rate study refresh, and then we sent one out. It was either earlier this week or late last week. I can't remember, the days get away from me. What we're looking for is information, feedback on the rate study refresh. So we have the rate standardization, the rate methodologies, the rate studies that we engage Mercer in doing. We want to engage Mercer again because those rate studies, we broke them out over 3 different three different studies, and the first one started all the way back in 2016. So we do want to do a rate refresh. And so we're engaging Mercer this week, or I'm sorry, this summer. Thank you, Heike. We're engaging Mercer this summer to do that rate study refresh, and we're looking for feedback from providers on assumptions to include. So we're going to be using our base assumptions and then updating those. But if you could send those back to us by May 27th, that would be wonderful. Here's the email blast that Heike has, and you can click on the links for more information about those. It is exciting and a lot of work, but Mercer will be working with us to do rate study refreshes for approximately 100 waiver services. So that is quite a few, and we will be busy at work with that this summer, and then we'll be engaging providers and stakeholders all, kind of throughout the summer at specific touch points. And if you click on that link that says graphic document, I don't know, Heike, if you could do that for me. This graphic document will show you the timeline that we have right now and when we'll be engaging with stakeholders through various feedback opportunities. So as you can see, our intent is to have finalized rate studies by December, which will be just in time for it'll be just in time for sessions, so we can have our story to make sure that we're telling everyone as we're going through session. Okay, so okay, Mark is asking, I'm going to back up for just a minute. How much savings will the additional privatization of case management provide DMH? We're actually receiving the $7.6 million in funding to move it to privatized case management. So there's not really a savings for us, but it does produce a higher quality of work from our support coordinators, because you can't manage a 1 to 80 caseload growth, or a caseload. I keep saying caseload growth. I'm sorry. A 1 to 80 caseload. You could do so much better if you had a shorter, a smaller caseload. So again, that was the $7.6 million that we were funded to be able to move that. Okay. The other thing that we're going to do, Emily is out today, but our federal programs unit has been hard at work on all of these waiver amendments. We have the rate standardization waiver amendment. You're going to see a value-based payment waiver amendment coming out, but they're also working on Partnership for Hope and MoKids waivers. Those waivers are due for renewal on July 2023. So the division has been working on the proposed changes for that renewal, and we anticipate posting those applications for an informal public comment period June 1st through June 30th. And then they will be holding 2 webinars to review those proposed changes during June. So when you see that come out, you'll also have the information about the webinars. And I think that is all that I have for today. So I'm going to pass it over to Leslie, and I'll continue to watch the chat to see if there's any, to see if there's any questions. Okay, Leslie.
Okay. Hello, good morning, everybody. I would like to share my screen, Heike. Oh, you passed me the ball. Thank you, thank you. See here, give me a minute. Okay. Get set up here. Good morning. I am Leslie DeGroat, your division's clinical coordinator, and I'm going to take this time to review some resources that are available on our websites and the CDC website for your use. I know things are looking great, but COVID is still out there. So I just wanted to remind you guys about this CDC site to show you how you can see the COVID activity in your area. And it shows like the hospitalizations and different things, how they gather the data. So I'm going to just kind of review that with you. You can check your county. Know your COVID-19 community level. So I'm here in Saline County. Well, I better click my state. Mighty Missouri. And so that way you can just keep those preventive measures in mind. I want to remind you that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities are at a higher risk, as you know. for serious health outcomes. So just please be aware of the activity. And if the individuals you support, if they're amenable to, masking up if necessary or what have you, this will just kind of help you guys with those decisions. So here in Saline County, it's considered low transmission level. And so it recommends stay up to date with your COVID-19 vaccines, get tested if you have symptoms. And then if you are immunocompromised, it tells you how you can protect yourself and different things of that nature. I just wanted to remind you of that. And I believe we'll drop that link in the chat. And also, speaking of vaccines, another link we'll drop in is just this was updated May 20th just the other day, or no, actually that's today. Anyway, the CDC just updated it, so you'll have the vaccine information available to you. I know that for the younger children, they're able to get a booster now. That's been approved. And they say that does help with the Omicron variant. So that's exciting to me. It's very exciting news. Also, just want to remind you of the availability of Station MD as a resource for all waiver participants. It provides that specially trained emergency room physician to be able to consult on health issues and concerns by using technology, and the person can just stay in the comfort of their own home. And so we'll drop those links in the chat on how to access Station MD and then how to contact a Station MD physician, just so that you guys will be able to just keep that handy in case you can use it. Let's see. I'd also like to give an update on the MoDD health risk screening tool, also called HERS process. We're in an implementation phase 1, which means that provider agencies are coming on board on a voluntary basis. We currently have 25 provider agencies at different levels of joining the process. If you choose to join, your agency representatives will be able to provide us valuable feedback on adapting to this new system, and we will work closely with you on that. We hold monthly meetings with the provider agencies coming on board, so we can, it's like a work group, so we can talk about it and try to troubleshoot any areas, because change is difficult and we want to be as supportive as possible with you guys coming on board. If you have any interest in moving forward with the HERS process for your agency, or just want more information in order to maybe take it back to the table and make that decision, please reach out to us using this email address. It's moddhurstproject@dmh.mo.gov, and we'll drop that in the chat as well. Go ahead and reach out and we can schedule a call with you, your administration staff, or whomever, whatever provider agency representatives, and we can further discuss. So, I mean, definitely reach out if you're interested, and we can at least chat about it. Let's see. Also, if you click on the link to our Mo Health Risk Screening Tool project webpage, you can, at your leisure, look at the process document, which gives you step-by-step what the training expectations are and what the process itself will look like. And there's also a short video for individuals and families in order for them to learn more about it. And I believe it's this. I'll try to click it without making that sharing screen ribbon come down. So here's where the overview is located. And you just click on that for the process. We don't have our FAQs in there yet, but we've about got them ready. And then we've got information for individuals and families, and that's where the video comes in. And then this is a document that talks about screening. So definitely reach out, definitely read up on it if you're interested, and we'd be glad to get you started on it. And one more item I want to point out on our health and safety page, under alerts and updates, I brought it up before, but I just want to remind you that it's there for your use. But under alerts and updates, there are informational documents titled Observe, Decide, Act, and it has different common health issues that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities have to deal with. It provides information on identifying signs and symptoms for early recognition in order to seek medical assistance as soon as possible. It also has risk factors and resources associated with a particular health issue. You can use these to educate the individuals you support, the caregivers and staff, and yourselves. We're currently working on new Observe Decide acts, speaking to the most common medication errors that we experience, which is forgetting to give the medication. This is consistent across the state and the country by far. It is one of those $1 million issues that if we could solve that problem, that would just be the best success. Like, I want to see that in our lifetime, decreasing those forgot to give errors. The reason why that is so important, interruption in a person's medication regimen can lead to poor outcomes. You just don't ever know how a med error or forgetting to give certain medications is going to affect the person. And that's just a risk that we don't need to be taking. So other topics that we are working on are geared toward oral health and hygiene, and then a separate one for navigating the dental care access world for people who perhaps need sedation dentistry, but maybe experiencing barriers, whether it be finding a provider or finding funding for it. And speaking of oral health, I want to remind you all of these videos we created for a grant project with the Dental Trade Alliance group out of Virginia. I'm going to go over here to videos, and we'll drop the that link in the chat as well. But these are instructional videos, and they're only about 3 minutes long a piece. You will go under videos and be able to see info about the grant project, as well as a brief description for each video. And the videos are meant for individuals, caregivers, and staff. It gives demonstrations. It talks about how to assist someone who may want to avoid oral hygiene tasks, to try to help work with them, to have, better oral hygiene, and it just has different things, aspects of that nature. So in closing, I appreciate being able to join you this morning to remind you of all these resources that we have on the website. So thank you for your time, and have a great Friday and a great weekend. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Were there any questions in the chat? Or
I did not see any, Leslie, so thank you very much. Okay. And with that, just a quick reminder to everyone, our next all-call webinar will be June 17th. So you can put a placeholder on that, and an email blast will be sent closer to that date. So watch for that to come out. And thank you very much, and have a great weekend, everyone.